What's up, Bruin Nation? Johnny Gamet here, and I am joined by Bethany Myers of the women's cross country and track teams. Bethany, thank you so much for carving out some time here in the early part of the semester for us.
No problem.
You know, we're back into the swing of things here at Bob Jones University, and I know things are a little bit different on campus this year. Just talk a little bit about some of the differences of being a student at Bob Jones this year. Obviously, it's different with COVID, but some of the things that you guys are experiencing as students.
So obviously we have to wear a mask basically everywhere except in our dorm room or when we're outside and we're socially distanced from others. So that's a lot different. And the hardest thing for me is like in classes when we're wearing a mask over our face. When I sleep a lot, I have my blanket up near my face, so it just reminds me of like being in bed, and so it makes me sleepier in class. So I got to bring that extra coffee with me to class nowadays. But
that's right. Your coffee intake has gone up. That's
yes,
funny.
Sir.
Talk a little bit about we're preparing for the fall season, for the cross country season, and talk about how you guys have been able to work as a team together. Typically you get that preseason time where you guys get to come in a few days before the other students and get those extra practices and those kinds of things. You didn't get that this year, so just talk about some of the practices and the way the team is preparing for this upcoming season.
So it was really sad that we weren't able to have preseason, but we have just been busting open into our practices that we're able to have. We had our first official practice on Saturday, bright and early at 6:30 in the morning. And coach started off with a really hard workout, but it was really good just to have the team back together again. It was a little different practice. We couldn't, huddle up as close as we usually do. We had to make a really big circle, but it was still good to just see everybody and just to run together. One of the hardest things, I think, as a runner or any kind of athlete is just practicing by yourself. That was one of the things I struggled with over the summer, was just not having that daily accountability as much. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, you guys are normally, as cross-country athletes especially, you guys have the experience of being kind of in season all the time. You're in cross-country in the fall and then track in the spring. So take me back to February, March. You guys had just got underway with the track season, ran a couple of preliminary events, and you're excited for the spring season of track, and then all of a sudden the whole thing is just kind of yanked out from under you guys. So just take me through those days where you went from, I think, if I remember correctly, you guys were even on your way to a meet that weekend, and all of a sudden, it's out from under you. Yeah, so we were supposed to be going to Alabama, I think the weekend that we had to go home, which was a super bum. It was super bumming that we had to not go. But before that, we had just been practicing our hardest, and our meets had been going pretty well. I was super excited for the meet right before we had to leave because I was going to be able to do the 4x4 relay, which I had never done before. I didn't do track in high school, but that had been one of my dreams, was to do that. And so it was really sad that we weren't able to do that, but we still were able to get together as a team. And my birthday was in March. So actually right before we left, I was able to get together with a couple of the girls, and we just went out to dinner, took some final pictures together, and then we went our separate ways. But we were able to stay connected just through like our team group chat. And then there's a running app called like Strava. So a lot of the girls went on that, and you can like see how far and like the paces that the other runners are going, which is super helpful just to see that, you're not the only one out there running. So.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, the ways that you guys stay connected with running and cross country in particular. You don't have to have a gym like basketball. You don't have to have a soccer net to kick the ball into or anything for cross country. You're going out and you're building endurance, you're improving your times, those kinds of things. But as you mentioned, that accountability, that running with somebody, that having your teammate next to you to help push you. And you even mentioned that it was a little bit more difficult to doing that by yourself, but talk about how your teammates still encouraged you and you guys tried to keep that connectivity despite being apart.
Yeah, so we had multiple group chats going with our whole team. Coach would also email us. He sent us like a little care package, which just like a Bruins t-shirt in it. He sent us a booklet with all of our running workouts in it, which was awesome. I needed new tennis shoes to run in because my old ones were just hurting my feet and they were getting really worn. And so I emailed Coach in March, like early March, right before we left. And I was like, hey, can I get some more trainers? And he was like, sure, I'll get you those soon. But we left before I got them. but he actually sent them to me in a package. So randomly in the summer, I got a package of new tennis shoes, and I was so excited. And my mom was like, "What? Coach sent you new shoes?" And it was super exciting, and it gave me an extra boost to like want to run. And the same thing happened for my friend MJ on the team. She got new trainers over the summers too from coach. So that was super cool because I was texting her and I was like, "You have the same shoes as me now." And it was awesome. And I know a lot of the other girls, I would randomly just text them and they would text me, or just small things like that. But
I've been asking each one of our student athletes, this whole COVID thing has been crazy for all of us, but for you in particular, if you kind of think back on the whole pandemic as a whole, what do you think is the biggest thing that God has taught you through this whole experience, from losing a season to, going virtual last spring to all the things that we've been through this summer, that kind of thing? What's the biggest thing God's taught you through this?
I think the biggest thing is that he's going to be with us no matter what, and that he's in control, and that he knows what tomorrow is going to hold, even if we don't, and that we need to face the future without fear and trust God in that. And also coach was talking about adaptability in practice, and he was relaying it from like a runner's perspective, saying how, every season you're going to be on a different course. You're going to be running against harder runners or slower runners, and you're going to have to adapt to that, and you're going to have to get faster and slower, and you're going to have to work harder. And I think the same thing applies here. As a student, we're going to have to adapt to the new things with Corona, and we're going to have to trust God that he's going to take care of us. And yeah.
As you guys look ahead to this season, we'll close with this question here, but as you guys look ahead, I know last year, the cross country team, we came really, really close to getting at that first national championship for the women's team, finishing second overall. How do you guys use that as motivation going into this 2020 season?
I think we use it as just the extra boost to work harder in practice, because I think we were first last time, we kind of have the little bragging rights on our shoulders, like, oh, we were first last time. We already got it. We don't need to work hard anymore. But just like being in second, it just bugs you so much that, you were so close. So you want to train like just that bit more so you can make it.
Bethany Myers of the women's cross country and track teams. Again, we appreciate the time today.
Thank you.